Well, we'll see if the Trifecta feels like they got to rectify things in picks and bans. Those are already here for game 2 between Splyce and Trifecta. And wow, I mean, Trifecta, we said coming into this one, they were looking like they could be in the top 2 spot. They could be going to Masters and dropping a game here to Splyce. They have to regroup heading here into game 2. And picks and bans, that's certainly going to be the start of it.
Now, they lost game 1 against the United, and then were able to come back and win games 2 and 3 to take that set. So you know Trifecta is capable of it. But this is, like I said, it's a must-win for Trifecta.
Yeah.
If they want to go to land, they need to win this set.
It's going to be important for them. Already, the Giannis and Ratatosker have been banned out, Ryan. You alluded to it a little bit in there. I do want to kind of point out as we transition in, but I mean, Splyce didn't even really need Cyclone that game. I mean, even as they were pushing the Titan, he just hadn't had to do much. He's kind of riding the sidecar, and that just goes to show how far ahead Cyno and Best, I feel like, and Divios as well, were able to get that game. I'm sure Cyno could have played that ROM perfectly, but he never even, or not Cyno, but Cyclone, but he never had to.
Never had to. He got his only kill on the Titan push, basically.
Yeah.
Look at this adjustment, though, by Trifecta. They ban away the Naja from Cyno and then first pick Agni. Now, Terra's the ban that they skipped that they did in game 1.
Right.
That's what they give up in order to take the Naja away. But then they still lock in the Agni right away, and then Splyce goes straight to the ROM. This surprises me because I really felt like the ROM selection was because of the Nemesis on the other side. But now it's Splyce with the Nemesis. Maybe this is the hunter that Cyclone feels the most comfortable on, and clearly they haven't felt very comfortable on a lot of hunters because they've been putting him on warriors. So I wonder if this is just kind of Splyce feel like if there's going to be a hunter, it's got to be ROM, and you can't afford to let Trifecta take it. Coincidentally, Terra is still available here.
Yeah, this is something that makes me wonder that there's something behind the scenes you might not know about, like even scrims or something, because I doubt the ROM would get prioritized in a regular match this early by the other team, so maybe they worry it'll get stolen away and that Trifecta just know how good that Cyclone can be on it, so maybe it's something to that effect. But the Athena is what gets selected along with Trifecta to go along with this Thor pick. I mean, that feels a little bit old school, but it's old school control between the Agni, the Thor, and the Athena.
And Ganesha instead of Terra. Terra left open, and neither team take it right away. Now, Divios has played a lot of Terra solo in his days, so if I'm on Trifecta, I'm still looking to ban that away. Potentially, but Scary D is more of a warrior player. You know, even the aggressive Guardians like the Ymir that he played in game 1 feels like it fits him a little bit better. So if I'm Splyce, I'm probably trying to bait out a Terra ban here from Trifecta if that's what Divios does want to play.
They ban away the Thoth, do Trifecta. Could certainly put a little mind towards banning at the tier as well. We know that's certainly a comfort pick for Divios. Want to take that away, but Finmer going to be the selection for Splyce along with the Kukulkan, trying to limit some of these options as we even with the Thor and the Athena already on the table.
Wow, NeiruMah the ban. So Splyce has the option to go to the Terra if they so choose, but it could be the tier again. If I'm on Splyce, I'm probably picking my mid laner here and just kind of waiting it out, or taking something that Scary D likes to play, like the Hercules. So this is going to be a switch up. Hercules has a pretty good matchup up against here because he can, in the middle of the Fearless, you can driving strike him and it'll stop that clear from happening. Divios has gone up against bad matchups like Hercules or like Artio in that lane before, but this was banned away in the first game, so I like it here to be picked by Splyce.
Could be a potential problem, though, as the Osiris is selected to come in behind it, and the Jing away. Osiris does have some anti-heal there in the kit, so that certainly can cause some problems for the Hercules. He's actually very strong in that physical matchup. We'll see how it works out, but I'm very curious where the best is going to go now with NeiruMah, Thoth banned, and the Agni taken for Trifecta. Still some strong options available here for him with the Giannis ban too, but Habois is what it's going to be.
Not a lot of control on the Splyce roster. I was looking for something with some CC to follow up and set up for Mask on the Nemesis, but
we know he can play like an Isis,
Yeah, exactly. But Habois is just that safety valve, right? Where if this game starts going long, there's only going to take one big Habois ult to completely change the entire course of the game. And if Splyce wants to win early and hard like they did in game 1, Habois can also do that. That's the strength of this character. He can get out of control early, mid-game, or late. He's got the opportunity to blow it wide open at all points in the game.
Well, you said earlier that you thought Trifecta, after what they showed against United, have the chance to bounce back. Now to see the picks, do you still feel confident that Trifecta can take it?
Yeah, if Trifecta is a top 3 team in North America, which it looks like they might be, they are winning this game.
They got to prove it here.
They have to.
Absolutely. Well, the casters are ready to take this game away. Let's get it over to Graham and Tom.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Finch. Going to be another interesting one here. Interesting more so about this Hebo pick against the Athena. Athena's always a danger to a Hebo in my eyes.
Yeah, it definitely can be troublesome here. And I actually not a big fan of the Hebo mid. I usually prefer it in the jungle. The exception being TheBest. TheBest was the guy that was bringing the Hebo mid out when he was not viable, when he was considered bad way back in the day and you just couldn't do it. And it doesn't matter because TheBest finds you. He hits you with a knock-up through the wall. That's kind of his what he's known for. So here at TheBest of the mid lane, Habwa, sure, man.
Well, Splyce have actually come into this with a certain strategy. It's worked in game 1, but will it work in game 2? That's up to you guys. Vote in chat now. Obviously, like, I guess it's not up to you guys, because even if you vote right or wrong, it's not going to change anything anyway, right?
I mean, I guess it depends. The player, yeah, no, not going
to. Do you imagine if fans at home could choose their own adventure in terms of, like, who wins these games?
Oh, jeez. I mean...
Who would win?
Oh, obviously Barracuda.
Yeah. We can all agree. Barrow for one side and Adaption on the other, and then they'll let Barrow get that crowning glory finally at Worlds, right?
Yeah,
I guess
probably
would be the case. Into game we go, and let's find out where they all break down into. Divios on one of his signatures, Hercules.
Same with Scary D on the Osiris as well. Another character that looks better maybe last year than this year. The loss of death toll really hurt this player.
Yeah, it did.
Or really hurt this character, and I guess this player by proxy, but really hurt this character. Not able to really do what he used to do, the heals off of the cleave basics, not really the thing.
Well, also he's going to have a bit of trouble this game against the Habwa as well, because one thing Habwa is very good at with the Atlas of the Yellow River is removing slow for his teammates and himself, so all the slows that Osiris is going to bring can be nullified.
At the same time, it's going to be tougher to kill Scary D than it might be able to kill some of the other solo lane options because of that raw damage mitigation. So, you know, kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
That makes a lot of sense. Beginning of the last game, we saw the duo lane both start in the jungle. I wonder if we'll see the same thing this time round. Not to be! Rama, alongside the Ganesha, going to pressure the wave early. And that forced Trifecta to be like, nope. Let's just go into the jungle and start there instead. And Spike's not going to look to invade this, interestingly enough. They're just going to go into their own jungle and farm there instead.
Yeah, just a little bit of everything, and a little bit of everything on this poll as well. Shout out to our producer who... well,
that's a 78% win ratio for Trifecta there, right?
That's what I'm saying. I actually really love that. He's working out the polls. We're a player short here at the studio this week, so hats off to our producer who's doing 1, 2, 3, 4 things today at once.
Same old. Hi-rez Studios. That's all I'm going to say to that one. So Splyce take game 1. It is a best of 3 after all. And with how this is lining up, it should be interesting. Best's going to get aggressed on very early by Master, looking to try and punish him. But he gets punished in response.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going to happen to the Hebo early, is that you're going to say, oh, your water hands are down, it can aggress on you, and you will, and you'll hurt him.
And then they back up.
And then he'll knock you up, and then, you know, you get hurt again.
However, the best is completely out of potions here at the start of this one already at level 2. And if Mas continues that trend, obviously he has the Assassin's Blessing, can go into the jungle to farm back up again and heal a little bit more. Best on the other hand can't. He's got no real sustain in the build that he's gone for.
That's why I like the Nemesis. Does have, it's interesting, this character used to never have any, but does have this early game pressure because of Slice and Dice being devastating with the damage plus the slow. So the best will get aggressed on here early, but if Cyno pays attention to his own middle laner, sort of a deviation from what we saw in game number 1, then Cyno's really going to be able to help the best through this troublesome early game.
I will say as well, the best in game 1 on that Agni, played that Agni very aggressive too.
Oh,
Not just sat on the backside, he was in amongst with his frontline tanks. And with the Habwa, it's a very similar style.
One of the most important things of that Agni play last game that made it so impactful was the fact that it was using passive flames as a damage source, making sure to lay that down when Cyno came down with the ultimate. That was a big part of how Splyce was able to get the damage to find the kills. So, yeah, no surprise to see him go directly aggressive with the Habwa as well.
We'll see how this game continues on with this one. At the moment, though, no jungle buffs available. Red buff is respawned for Trifecta as they started at that red buff, but nothing other than that right now.
Looking at itemization in the jungle, Mask starting this enchanted buckler. Now, I'm not going to break down the shape of it like Aggro and Finch did last time around.
Did they?
Yeah.
It's circular. Or spherical, if that helps.
I think the real conversation is the color. It's turquoise. No, I'm just kidding here, folks.
I was going to kill you. I was like, no.
What is important is if he builds this into the Onculae, which I really hope he will, it shuts down the magical ability spammers like this Hebo. He wants to sit there and go 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1. And if you're able to get that silence off, that little bit of breathing room is all you need to crush Hebo.
It's also the fact that Thor's very good against Hebo anyway, just because the dunk into the wall wall, and the spin is knock-up immune.
The wall is one of the biggest points that you nailed there. Hebo can't actually get above and beyond what happens there with the tectonic shift. So seeing him take that option against the Hebo, I'm a really big fan. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just, I don't know. The Enchanted Buckler, it's really just more about the color than the shape.
Left-hand side, NeiruMah, Zapman with a little bit of pressure here at the moment. Aror, Cyclone just sitting a little bit further back, respectful of the situation they're in here. Obviously, Jing, Athena have a lot of opportunities to burn some beads with the knock-ups and taunts in tow. And Aror, obviously, playing this Ganesha again, can play this passively as well. One of those sort of gods that can be played both aggressive, like Game 1. Game 2, we'll see if he goes for that same sort of route here. Will he go for that early Stone of Binding? Is one of the questions that need to be answered.
I don't think so, because it's a different style of attack here. When you look at what Best is able to do, he might not even need that amplification of the penetration. So looking at that in mind, I think that the Habwa can sort of handle it without the amp.
Cyno going to take a bit of bombs there over the wall from Metyankey. Was looking to steal those away. May have even done so, as he's level 6 and Best and Cyno still level 5. So maybe it's just a little idea. Yeah, Best just hit 6 now, so it kind of tells me he stole them with the bomb over the wall there for a moment or two. Maxing the Flame Wave, as per usual. Only real ability on Agni 2 max, to be fair.
Yeah, other characters are really interesting. When you watch Vulcan specifically, he is always my favorite example. You can kind of pick and choose whether you max your turret, your meatball, or your backfire, depending on your matchup, or even you're feeling the time of day, your astrology sign. When it comes down to Metyankey on the Agni, dog, you got to hit that number 2.
I mean, if you're going to max your Path of Flames, you can, but then, you know, you're going to have to go very aggressive all the time.
Yeah, I mean, even for the sake of conversation, I just don't see a world where that's actually viable, just because the cooldown on the 2, the safety of the 2, and the fact that the dash, yes, it's a very powerful ability for what it is, but it also is your only escape option.
Very true indeed. Level 7 then for the mid laners and the solo laners right now. Solo laners have been back to base and picked up their warrior tabby. Both junglers have theirs online too, and the boot slowly being worked on. The Best a little bit further behind in terms of build right now compared to Metyankey, who just came back from base.
Kind of expected here in Season 5. Had you watched this matchup previously, well, what happens is Agni is not really much of a character early on.
Cheeky gank attempt off the mark, and Mast did not jump to his hammer, but he'll get away to safety. NeiruMah being zoned away by Best. A very split fight here, Tom.
Very important that Splyce kept that split up, because Best can handle himself 1 versus 1, but if players start to pile on top of him, that's where Hebo starts to have an issue. But if you're just trying to fight the god of the Yellow River, he's going to knock you up and knock you down nice and easy.
Yeah, and one thing to know as well, the Aegis picked up by Metyankey here. He's not worried about CC from the enemy team. He's worried about raw damage. That Aegis will buy him a bit of a window from taking some of that.
Now, normally I don't like the Aegis into the Hebo. It's not the same as when you're picking up the Aegis into the Kraken, because there's so much advanced warning. You're going to be able to pop it no problem.
But the Nemesis.
The Nemesis, you can't do it against Nemesis either. You get hit instantly. Why I like the Aegis here specifically.
I meant the chop. I didn't mean the ult.
Okay.
Like, come on. I wasn't talking about the ult. Like, if you can predict the Nemesis ult, I'm pretty impressed.
Thought you were trolling me. But
I don't troll. Like, when have I ever trolled?
I wish we had caster cam so you could see the look of just disbelief that I gave to my co-commentator.
I can't be a savage and a troll. That's just not possible.
I don't know. Savage troll is 1 green and 1 colorless. Anyway, Metyankey here on the Aegis, really important, because he doesn't need the beads necessarily. There's a lack of crowd control.
That is true.
Cyno has a slow. Divios has a little bit of a stun that'll come in later on.
I didn't want to point that out. Yeah, Divios does have the Earthbreaker and the Driving Strike, but that is for later. Into the sky go Mask, low on mana, but they're looking for the pick on the Best, because the rotation from duo lane was magnifique. Great little play from Trifecta there. Just quick rotation, punished.
Listen, man, if I took the map and I made a heat map where I just colored in all these little entrances to the lanes, nobody would know that I didn't have any data to back that up. Players die there so often. It's so devastating being caught there, especially as a character like Habwa. I think the Best just took the wrong pathing. Way too aggressive.
It's choke points. That's all it is. And choke points in any game are always going to cause issues. Fire Giant has a couple of choke points these days. Not as many as previous seasons, mind, but still enough to make an impact. Cyclone going to get hit by the taunt. No panic there, though. No beads. Just a relaxed taunt, knowing that NeiruMah probably hasn't got too many points in it just yet to secure a kill.
Now, if the Hebo's on the side of Trifecta, I think that you see the opposing mid laner go beads because of that taunt. So the Aegis here against Habwa can usually be deceptively ineffective because you can't activate it while you're knocked up in the air. That's why I don't always love it.
Yeah.
But here, like I said, just to reiterate, the reason that I like the Aegis in this position versus the Habwa, because you don't think in a vacuum. It's not versus the Habwa. It's about Splyce's composition, and the rest of the teammates don't exactly bring that much with respects to CC either.
Oh, aggressive from Scary D with a 2v1. Divios low, Divios dead, soloed! There was nothing Cyno could do other than just watch Osiris do his business.
He tosses the ultimate out, and, you know, what else can the Nemesis do? A very different character than the Naja from game number 1. Sash, ultimate, ton of different things to use.
Aror taking a lot of bombs there, at least 2 to his head. Metyankey couldn't find the flame wave though, may have put more pressure on Aror, but Aror will be okay. We'll head back to base quickly. But those two backing right now, if Mask spots this, they could potentially look towards a gold here.
Mask is just going to look to stop the back. Right now, I think the Gold Fury would be a little bit aggressive.
Well, if you look at where the map is, I mean, we have the bird's eye view, we have the extra information. I'm looking at the map and I'm like, everyone Splyce is even on the right-hand side of him base. Like, Gold Fury is available, but so is the red buff.
Nothing about Trifecta's composition really lends itself to being able to burst that down. Not even a frenzy to sort of amplify that fact.
I mean, Agni's really good here, though, in fairness. Like, the bombs, you know, the flame wave, the path of flames, like Bernie.
Yes, absolutely. He definitely does have some tools, but not as robust. It's not like you've got an Isis and a Naja jungle, right? When we saw Splyce go for that 16, 17-minute fire giant.
Naja jungle? Naja can't sash the Gold Fury, Tom. We've been through this.
Deep thoughts? Count to 10?
See, that's not troll, by the way. That's just truth, right? I'm just going to clear that one up. It's just like when you call me savage. It's like, it's not BM if it's true, okay?
That's very fair. You are a savage. That is how people know you, from being the savage guy.
God, it's old.
That's what we call the 1-2 punch, folks. Splyce hasn't been able to find that, though. Trifecta 2-zip so far.
Good dash.
NeiruMah a little bit off there.
Yeah, luckily Cyno didn't get hit by that, but it was a nice little dash from him, recognizing that taunt could have been available. The 3-man split in that mid lane at the moment isn't the greatest thing in the world, but at the same time, whole juggle's down. There's nowhere else to really be.
Color me surprised. Aror does go for the Stone of Binding. Let's take a look at that a second time. Let's take a look at that a second time. So he's getting a little bit of power here, double prots, and most importantly, I think, is the inexpensive. This item is not very pricey, so that might be why he's also bringing this one out.
It's also, as long as he plays it safe, he can be in a pretty comfortable position like this right now. Domic Pillar's down. NeiruMah got aggressive, got silenced out. No follow-up from TheBest, though. Held his ultimate there. Didn't want to go for the kill, because I feel if he did ult across, could be different. Sorry, left-hand side, though. Cyclone versus Zapman's going on, and Cyclone's losing this trade. The airstrike off the mark, but Zap under the tower will find the kill.
He finds the last in-hand before CycloneSpin can lift off. Number 3 for Trifecta.
You know, I don't think Cyclone expected Zap to come down as quick and in tower range. I think that was the key to that, and Cyclone noticed him was coming down there and went, oh no, tried to ult, couldn't buy enough time.
I think everybody got to expect Zapman to land within tower range.
No, I mean, old Zap, sure, but newer Zap, not as much.
Very big point
Best
here.
in trouble, though. Great ultimate, but it brings him into an awkward spot. This may be an available turnaround. The Aegis came into play for Metyankey, but not enough to keep him alive. 1-for-1 trade, or could this be more for Trifecta?
It's going to be. There's the double taps. Mask is going to miss the stun.
But he still get the kill. On the back of the fight, though, Cyno back in this, looking at Zap, who's burned everything. The knockup came through, but he still had enough damage ticking away from the Crusher to pick it up. Cyclone back, and his ultimate's back up. Or maybe it just didn't cast, honestly, in fairness, which it didn't. But NeiruMah will escape.
Really important for Mask to stay here so that nobody can really dive his support.
Oh, one more hit would have done it, but Cyclone just can't thread that needle. Scary D with the rotation, though, and Divios nowhere to be seen. One hit is all it needs, and the cleave to the back of the head is going to be good.
Let it end. Is this team fight finally over?
Do you remember season 1 when we used to cast like semi-final Challenger Cup games? This is what that felt like. That it was like a constant fight for the last 6 minutes.
Yeah, just these players coming in and out of the team fights and in the most effective way possible.
Yeah.
Usually it's terrible to watch the Lemmings all jump off of the bridge because the preceding one did first. But here, I mean, everybody kind of filtered in and got that return kill for their squad.
But with this, now Trifecta have a 2,000 gold lead. No neutral objectives really to talk about. Gold Fury still stayed alive, but I say that Gold Fury started up by Trifecta right now. You can see Zapman trying to bring this one down. He's got fully stacked Divios, Gauntlets, and an Igval, which really helps. But Aror has been pinched, knocked in the air, and the flames rain down. Mask gets another kill for himself as he goes onto a killing spree.
Oh, man, that was just a bad day for Babar. Locked up by every player on the squad.
It needs a Barbar skin. Oh, my God. I wish we could have a Ganesh Barbar skin.
Just default skin with a little crown.
Just a little crown on top. That would be great. Well, actually, Barbar was actually the kid, not the dad, right?
Yeah, but didn't he have a little crown?
No, the dad had the crown.
Oh, okay.
He had a big green suit as well, which was dope.
I liked the green
suit. That's what it was. I think we just both liked the suit. Go Fury started up here by Trifecta again, but in the sky is Cyclone.
Too early.
Very early. He went for damage, realizing he was too early there by the looks of it, or just no real vision to speak of. Trifecta, get the gold.
Yeah, that's what it was. CycloneSpin knew that it had been a while. The decision there is undoubtedly Gold Fury. CycloneSpin just has no clue how far or not far along they are, pops up into the sky, and, you know, doesn't roll 7.
Cyno going for the blink next after the beads as well in terms of relic choices. How do you feel about the blink on the Nemesis in this game? Just this one specifically. Like, we know blink on Nemesis is good, herp derp, but in this one, does it factor in more?
It's good, herp derp.
Okay. Just good to check that one in, you know? You never know.
But it's very important that Cyno, it's actually extra important that Cyno goes the blink here actually in lieu of other options because he is the guy.
Yeah.
He won game number, he was a big part of what won game number 1. And here on the Nemesis, he's been the one that's actually ahead of his opposition. Everybody else, sans the support, is kind of down a little bit. So watching that, Nemesis is going to be the guy that has to really transition us from this deficit into a potential lead.
I'm thinking about that too. Obviously, with that blink, you try to get to Agni, if anything. And Agni with that Path of Flames already sits very far back in the fight because of the ultimate and the zone control he brings there. So you need to be able to blink to catch up.
Right, you blink, you ult, you force the dash, you
double dash,
you shield up on the top of the Path of Flames, and then you're able to really cut him down there with the additional slow from the slice and dice. So
never really thought about the shield and the Path of Flames. I like that. I'd not thought about that one before.
Yeah, it's just extra damage on top of it. Now, of course, it depends on how many bombs he's got. If he's got all 3 on his head, then you got to watch out and probably save that for some of the burst a little bit later. But it all depends on how strong you're going to be with your beads and if this Nemesis picks up a Magi's cloak.
This is almost like a reversal of game 1 where Trifecta are really ones controlling and setting the pace, invading the jungle regularly, finding the picks they need at the pace they want to. Splyce, really struggling here. Every single lane is currently losing.
The biggest difference is the fact that Cyno's Nemesis is actually impactful.
Those 3 bombs rain down. Best is in trouble. Taunt, wall, double tap. Nice clean up from Trifecta there. And now Splyce not going to have the people here to really turn this one around. Meanwhile, look at the left-hand side. Zapman happily just keeping CycloneSpin pinned under this tower.
Both of these lanes have the pressure, and even over there in the solo lane, it might not look it, but Divios is down 2 levels to Scary D's Osiris.
It might not look it. We saw Scary solo Divios when Cyno was there early, and he's got 2 kills.
I just meant that Zapman is literally on the tower.
Oh,
the mid lane is going to kill this tier 1 tower, and the Sioux solo laners were getting their blues.
Well, left-hand side, Mask goes in onto Cyclone with the ultimate, gets the beads, and that gives enough pressure for Zapman to get the tower.
That's kind of unreasonable to watch these guys go ahead and have so much pressure in 2 lanes at the same time.
Yeah, well, talk about that. The 3rd lane is still being pressured up. Divios going to hit that driving strike. Gone for, obviously, the usual sort of Divios-esque build with the breastplate and Valor, but just tankiness. Still in tanky composition. Meanwhile, though, I will say Scary D going for the Mystical Mail. We don't see that as often anymore. See that on a couple of Achilleses now and again, but I've not seen that out of too many people.
I think it's really important on this choice. Mystical Mail is an item that kind of transforms a character and really makes it a little bit different.
Do you reckon that's what allows Osiris to be a little bit more functional in the lane now that he's lost Death's Toll, maybe?
Absolutely. The Mystical Mail takes on the wave are obviously going to help him clear a little bit more, but it's also just raw presence. On this Osiris, the character here is not like a Hercules who's looking for displacement or an Artio who's looking to control by way of cripples.
Oh, Scary D needs to be careful here. Low on mana, going to get blinked on and ulted by Cyno. Still low on mana. I don't think he's got enough for anything, but they've not got enough damage for the kill there. Divios didn't have his boulder to try and chase that through, and Scary D just walked away in essence.
All they really do is get a teleport cooldown for that one.
Cyclone is actually hiding behind that. You can see he's not visible on the map right now, but the guess is relatively good. I guess Zapman walking around the corner helped with that vision just in time, but they won't be able to pick the Rama just yet.
Yeah, not quite there, but just to wrap up what I was saying about the Osiris selection, some characters have a lot of tools. Now, Scary D on the Osiris is basically the stun that takes 12 years to actually activate, which more importantly is cutting down the damage that your opposition is doing, and uncountable slows. When you're slowing a player, chasing them up, occupying space, and have that mystical mail pulse, the slows are that much more impactful because you're also taking damage.
See how this one continues on Divine Ruin picked up from Metyankey here. A little bit worried about the sustain coming out, mainly from Divios in the later stages of this game. So making sure he itemizes for the later stages still important, even though they are ahead.
Looking at what these players are doing here and seeing, I like what's going on in the meta because we've got a solo lane Osiris and a mid lane Hebo that are out of... they're not out of the meta. No character really is, but they're just not #1 picks. But because these players are good at them, we see them.
Well, this Gold Fury is getting relatively low. The zone worked for a moment or two, but Trifecta have to reset it as the zone wasn't good enough. Scary D, though, is going to engage because Mask is in the sky.
Mask gonna look for a target right now. Lands on the left-hand side individually. The rest of the team fight on the
right.
right.
Mask lost that trade. Mask lost that trade heavy to Cyno. Now he's going to force Trifecta back to try and help him out as Cyclone nearly finds a snipe.
Shots won't find it, but Big D with the big boulder absolutely does. Metyankey fights back with Divios with the double un. 2 dead for Trifecta, 1 down on Splyce.
And now Zapman surrounded and alone, knocked up and bursted down. Where's your agility now, son? Splyce get themselves back in this fight as Mask takes on Cyno, loses the trade, and that's what changes the fight completely.
Exactly. Definitely agree with you right there. Mask uses his fantastic team fight ultimate to force the 1v1 trade. Problem was, he didn't come up on the good side. Cyno took care of business using the ultimate, basically dumping the whole kit, and the shield really helped him against Mask right there, and just lost that fight. At the same time, I don't mind the decision. I do a little bit. But when you're ahead, you got to look for those one-on-one fights.
And with the build he's got, too, he's got a lot of power in that. Unseal, as well as, well, mainly the Transcendence and the Heartseeker, which has just finished the Heartseeker there for Mask, but he had the Transcendence already. So he was looking for the 1v1, felt like he was in a better spot.
You know what? I do have a problem with the decision. I understand where he comes from, and that doesn't mean I agree with him.
Sure.
He came from the world of, I have this power, I have a big lead. He was 4-0 at the time. He's going to look for the one-on-one fight. I understand why he came to that conclusion, but Thor Dunk is an AoE stun, and the team fight was so condensed right there. I think it was the better target for Mask to look at Cyno and then look at the team fight and land there.
There was one other thing that happened in that fight that was very monumental in my eyes, was Divios' boulder, because it actually killed 2, technically. He killed the first one, and then the boulder double taps off the wall to set up the second. That boulder, though, a little bit different, a little bit too late there, unfortunately. So the Pyromancer goes to Trifecta. The lesser of the two, I will say, over the Gold Fury, as always stated. But this has given Splyce now a chance to be back in this game. It felt like this game was almost getting to that point where Splyce like, all right, we're almost defending at Phoenix's this game, guys, because we can't find anything. And one fight has brought them back into the game.
Also a big deal, 21 minutes in, bring that up because TheBest is playing on this Hebo. The character has a fine mid game and a great late game if you can make use of the damage. He needs a lot of babysitters, but this guy was 0-3-0 in the early stages of the game. Trifecta did a great job of shutting down this burst mage because they know how devastating he can be. You watched him delete Zapman. Now that he's got a couple of these items online, going to finish up his penetration in just a moment. That's what he's going to do. So Splyce, this is where they're expected to sort of turn around their team fights.
And we've not talked about the comps in great detail, but if you look at what Trifecta have here, they are all the aggressors. They've got Thor and Athena. Those two are going to be the biggest aggressors on this map. Splyce, meanwhile, very counter-initiate heavy, I'd say. Yeah, sure, Nemesis can blink in and ult to try and initiate a fight, but in a proper 5-on-5, you're not going to be doing that as the Nemesis against the comp that Trifecta have drafted.
I mean, I think this has a little less synergy than the composition we saw from Splyce in game number 1. There isn't a clear, like, oh, that's what their game plan is. Basically, what their game plan is, Cyno ult somebody in TheBest and everybody blow them up. And that's a little bit more surface level than I think game number 1 was. And basically, they're just expecting these characters to stand on their own hind legs. TheBest is just supposed to kill people, and CycloneSpin's just supposed to kill people. The wonderful interactions that we saw in game 1 where Cyno goes up and there's a set play of put down the Agni Path of Flames and Auror's Dharmic Pillars. We don't have that here. Will that be a problem for Splyce going on, or can they just depend on the raw brawn? This is brawn versus brains. We'll have to see how it works out.
Getting to the point in the game, though, F-Dot, where these hunters will start to swing a little bit harder and make more of an impact. This itemization is nearly finished for both of them. Zapman working towards his crit now. And meanwhile, Cyclone with the chins online and the penetration from that Titan's Bane going to be coming through. They're going to be causing problems. And I think that's why we see Cyno already over here.
But Zapman's going aggressive. He's got the Athena ult alongside the Thor. Cyno gets hit by one hammer, not going to get hit by the double tap. And so the Nemesis, the ultimate, will be used.
At the moment, Mask is semi-struggling with some of these hammer throws, I'll say that much, because he's not teleporting as well as he would like to. Twice we've seen him miss the teleport in the right opportunity he was looking for. Once defensively, and that one was aggressive there, that he just clipped the wall, basically, is what happened. It's a bit of nothing, but at the same time, it does hurt. It makes a big impact in the fight.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, Mask, for me, it was the decision-making in that team fight earlier that I wasn't a big fan of. I was just about to comment on the fact that, but he's in the lead. Yeah. That said, Splyce do get an extra 500 for that tower they just snag.
So it keeps it relatively even still. I mean, 2,000 gold isn't anything to scream home about just now. Specifically when you divide it amongst all the teams. 500 gold each, basically. With 500 gold, what can you really buy in Smite? Well, an Oracle's Chalice, a couple of wards. That's about it.
Pretty much.
Power pots. You can get power pots now.
Yes, you can.
Do you remember when the people stopped seeing that now? The power pots for the fights. Why do you reckon we stopped seeing that?
I think the itemization is just much more important here.
That's fair.
Power pots, we used to see them picked up at crucial fights, and I think we still will. But at the end of the day, what happens is if you're not able to win in the mid game, your goal becomes to stalemate and get 6 slotted so that you can defend under your Phoenix. Tossing out 500 gold for a brief moment and hoping to win the team fight, I think, is just not as realistic, because in the past, that will stall and just defend under the Phoenix was not a real strategy.
Sure.
They would just step on you.
Yeah.
Now you can actually do that, and that's why we see our games going later and later, because you can sit under the Phoenix, use the geometry of the map and some of the other items that have come into the meta and the game to allow yourself to look that way.
A little bit of a mistake there by Splyce, leaving this Gold Fury unattended, but Divios just turned up in the right nick of time. Going to get bursted down, knocked up. The flames came down, Mask in the sky. Looking to dunk and does so on Divios. Taunt not available. As a great silence from Aror, cancelled that out. Scary D still at the back line, though, keeping them busy. Gold Fury still not being started.
I don't know if I like that play. Trifecta probably could have finished that one off. It would have been dangerous. So
they tried to kill Divios. They tried to burst him quick, and it didn't work.
I mean, he's got the Genji's guard, which is going to be fantastic against the Agni. He's got I mean, he's tanky as hell. What do you want me to,
I know, it's true.
to say?
It's the way it is.
It's the wrong
so
choice.
Now, after that investment from Trifecta, it's Splyce's turn to start up the Gold Fury. Defensive strategy from them, though. They've not got their tanks on the front line as much, just around the area of the Gold Fury pit, making sure that when anyone comes in, they'll be the ones that take the brunt.
Divios getting taunted, knocked up, and detonated on, but still alive thanks to his mitigate wound.
Didn't connect. He was looking for Scary D. There's his driving stroke him away. But now Scary D will be able to return to base, has his teleport available. Washed fight from both teams. Just relics really burnt.
Big deal. Splyce has no ultimates. Trifecta got all the ults in the game. Masks is going to come up in a moment. And because Splyce realized that one, they're just going to walk away. Trifecta with the easy Gold Fury. Paid in full with a teammate prior. I
do want to hear some of those calls around the Gold Fury, though. You know, after that fight happens, I'd love to hear what Splyce's comes like. All right, what did they use? Nothing?
Yeah.
Oh. I guess let's give this one up, boys. We can't do this. Now with that power play, not only do Trifecta get the Gold Fury, they will pick up the Pyromancer too for a little bit of an extra boost there. Gold's still important, mind. Remember that. We're still under 30-odd minutes and nobody fully 6-slotted just yet.
Mask go up? Mask did go up, and then he came down right on top of Big Divios.
And the bombs rain down, but he jukes away from the last one, which keeps him alive. Not enough sustain, though, to weather the storm of 4 men on him. And Scary D, meanwhile, made sure the other 4 of Splyce couldn't get it close.
Again, great job by Scary D. That's not going to show up on any highlight reel. Just make sure that he's in the right spot at the right time. That mystical mail coming into play. Scary D just occupying a space. Make sure that you don't want to go near him.
I'd give him an assist for that, even though he's not getting an assist.
Oh,
That's what it is.
absolutely.
He definitely was an assist on that. Sometimes that's the thing about KDAs. Sometimes it doesn't really show whether you were assisting or not because you kept 2 people at the fight, which is really assisting.
Yeah, I mean, I almost look at it like a hockey assist, where it's the secondary guy that passes it and then finally makes it into the goal. You've affected the situation so much that you allowed the goal to happen, but you're just not going to show up on the scoreboard.
Crits for 555 coming out from Zapman. Now Firegiant down to half health as Trifecta looking to abuse the fact Divios is still dead. But the reset will happen as the Dharmic Pillars get dropped by Aror as Trifecta look to get aggressive. Now the Fire Giant has been reset. A couple of members of Trifecta took a little bit more poke than they bargained for. Pressure relieved for now.
Big deal, though. Divios not here for the team fight. Very low as his health bar, as well as the ultimate being chased out defensively. So Trifecta have to go and return to lick their wounds, but they're safe, knowing that the mid lane Habwa is not going to be able to make a move.
Yeah, the one thing is they had to stagger their backs a little bit there. Just make sure they kept some pressure around that Fire Giant in case of a turnaround.
Really big point.
Because if you don't stagger the backs there, you all try and go back to base, you're going to be in an awkward spot. Lose it because they'll just be like, okay, you presented the Fire Giant to us, I guess we'll do it.
One of the bigger differences between ranked and competitive and something that you can take home to your own ranked games. When you're in these competitive games, everybody's in comms and everybody has the same thing in mind, and you're able to go, all right, you back first, we'll back second, sort of, somebody watch guard, right?
The amount of times as a player when I play this game that I've sat there as a support with 20% health
Yep.
and had to stay because everybody decided to back, and I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I'm here to try and defend this Fire Giant.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I've sat there with 3,000 gold in hand, just like, I'd love to back, but you guys all left me. We have no wards because nobody wards.
And then you back and they engage, and you're like, why do you wait?
Exactly. So making sure that you don't leave any objective uncontested is a very important part of the competitive scene.
But an actual god there is better. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I thought you asked me, are wards good? I thought this was the running joke was you're just going to ask me the obvious stuff.
I'll start doing that if you want. If this goes to a game 3, I'll do it all through game 3.
Blink on Nemesis?
But
Good
at
or
the moment,
bad?
Fire Giant down to half health. Has to be reset again from Trifecta. Ultimate's available. Keep an eye on Relics. Relics is always a big talking point. At the moment, there's only one down, though, which is TheBest's Aegis. If Trifecta are aware of that, which they probably are, they'll be looking to try and find TheBest, who is sat quite far back at the moment and will continue to be so until the moment is to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he is. Hebo is the definition of glass cannon. And even building into this Warlock staff, and we see another option for him that's going to have some health on it in that 6th item, he's still a glass cannon. This guy is fragile written all over him.
I do think that when he goes for the light... Oh, hang on a second. I love this call from Trifecta. Bit of a rope-a-dope. Take him to the right and then push down the mid. Get a tier 2 tower.
Love this. We saw this out of energy the other day as well. I hold that because the chase is on.
Well, they're trying to punish
activated. The slow from Cyno is good.
Oh, the burst is just too much. The crits and the fire from Agni is causing a problem. One member Das mask comes down, didn't find the ult. It was after the wall, though, will guarantee the kill. 2 kills for Trifecta, and Scarity's got a roar in a problem situation.
He's got NeiruMah on his back as well. Neil's going to land down right on top of the support player. Scary D slowed, but so is the opposition. Big knockup coming out from TheBest to disrupt NeiruMah.
The taunt, however, wasn't as good as they were hoping for there from Trifecta. Sprint pop to just relieve the pressure again, fall back to a safer distance. 2 members dead for over 20 seconds here. But another bait attempt round the corner. Aror, has he spotted? He has. They're looking at the speed. They're looking for a kill. Cyclone gets away. No, the wall catches him.
He was on the other side,
But the Aegis.
unfortunately.
Aegis as well, though, did buy him enough time. I like the choice of Aegis over the beads there, too.
Yeah, just got to make sure that you're able to deal with the burst damage here. Trifecta looking for the Fire Giant here. They've got the power play. Cyno sure still in base, but he is alive.
Cyclone goes up relatively early once again. Looks to snipe out Metyankey. Just a little bit too early on both of those. NeiruMah relatively low here. Zapman solo in this best. Looking to get range with a wall from Mask. Denies the exit route, or the entrance route, I should say, from the Habwa. Habwa now trying to stay alive and turn this one around as his reinforcements have arrived.
Top play of the game. End it now, I'm fine. Wonderful wall. Scary D going to be surrounded here by Splyce. So Trifecta fantastically picked up the Fire Giant.
Oh,
but able to chase down the solo.
They lose 2 characters, and the 2 characters they lost with the Fire Giant. Normally we don't talk about it, but with how the season's kind of been, They're frontliners, they're tanks, and they need that regen. So they can go in and out the whole time.
Regen, sure. I still am happier that my carries are surviving and have that available. It's all about the structure damage for me when it comes to looking at the Fire Giant buff.
But it also slows down them aggressing onto some of the towers that are left up right now. They're going to have to wait a few more seconds before they can use the Fire Giant to its effect. Granted, they'll get Gold Fury, which is another win for Trifecta. They're no way, shape, or form in a bad spot here. They're looking solid at the moment. Splyce have just been causing them issues every single time.
Yeah, the Hebo pick just hasn't worked out for me here. And I say this as somebody that likes watching the best play Hebo. Just not a good pick here in this situation. Mask's Thor has worked out fantastically against it. Obviously, the Athena taunt is doing well in addition. So looking at what the best has done here on this pick, it's just not there for me. I think what Splyce was hoping to do was succeed on the raw power of some of these options, both the Nemesis and the Hebo, part of that conversation, but just unable to get things started.
I'm really excited about the two strategies we've seen so far. Splyce in game one came with a strategy that worked out so well for them. Felt very much like a Splyce style to it still, even though it wasn't too crazy of the pick situation. And Trifecta this game, they have put to work their composition. They have made it work to their strengths. Got themselves into a position where they can use strategy to move Splyce around the map and look to pressure when they choose.
Yeah, this is just the composition, the strategy overall from Trifecta. I think a little bit cleaner than Splyce here in game number 2. And that's where we're at. Trifecta and Splyce, very evenly matched. I think these guys are both, this is a 50-50 matchup if I'm at the betting table. Well, and so looking at what they're able to do, you're going to find yourself hard-pressed to find a win just by being powerful enough.
Sure.
You really got to bring the composition and the strats.
Mask in mid lane going to pressure that out as the rest of his team are on the left-hand side. Always useful to use that semi-global presence to apply some pressure. But there's still a lot of a wave there, but Mask isn't going to go for that. Instead, he's grouping with his team on the left-hand side. I would have preferred to see him mid, I think, Tom.
Well, that's what we usually see, the 4-in-1 push. It was just too far back, I think. Trifecta both need the wall, and they want to go now.
Well, driving strike, so heal was used there, so Divios will get a lot of that health back there as 2 bombs were dropped by Metyankey. And now he's going to have a bit of regen for those bombs once more. And Trifecta may hold a second or two there. Let that Agni regen a moment, but no. NeiruMah going to walk in alongside Scary D, knowing that Divios wasn't there for a moment, but Divios back at the front once more.
Cyno on the right-hand side, making sure to take care of anything. And Mask, the ultimate used, but not efficiently.
And now with that, it's kind of an awkward situation because Splyce should have known about that.
And I don't want to point at Mask directly because that's a team decision.
The best, but it wasn't good enough to bring down NeiruMah. No follow-up was there. Rest of the team was focused on making sure the rest of Trifecta didn't come diving in.
Yeah, that was Trifecta just seeing. We'll step up. Our Mask's ultimate is down, so our game plan is toast. Because that's what happened. Again, now that we have... Mask went up and didn't initiate... That's not Mask being dumb. That's a team call. That we don't have this poll. We don't have this call.
There's nothing
just cancel. Abort mission. And then Trifecta go, and they're like, all right, we've got one more shot with this Fire Giant buff. We'll just step up. We don't really have the initiation tool that we'd like. We'll step up, see if Splyce are going to take the bait. They don't, so we're out. We'll see you tomorrow.
So all in all, with that Fire Giant, Trifecta got a Gold Fury and a Tier 2 tower. And now that Fire Giant's about to wear off, or has worn off, I should say. And then we'll see what happens around the next one. Because Splyce were around there last time. They just couldn't get in.
Most important point there for Splyce is the fact that they were able to get the successful defensive stop there on the left-hand side. Making sure that Trifecta couldn't break that Phoenix means that they don't have to worry about fire minions, meaning they can respond to this Fire Giant. Had Trifecta taken care of that Phoenix, we don't see Splyce even think about this objective.
This is one of those games that you don't get to practice too often as a pro player either, or even yourself. They go this late of a game and be relatively even. And by relatively even, I mean itemization-wise. You get to sell your starting items or even some of the items you do for transitional builds towards late game for more. You see that in Zapman's build.
Yeah.
3 crit items here now, Tom.
Scary D on the back line. Then he's going to be able to exit thanks to Mask's hot wall. Nice stuff. Fire Giant started.
Yeah, just for a second, though, because Zap will poke it, pull somebody in, and then if the team goes aggressive, has to back away to go and support them. Dance of the Fire Giant begins. Minions in a relatively okay position for everybody right now. Nothing to really worry about there. Gold Fury down, so all the pressure will be on this right-hand side.
Well, Dire Pillars go down. Auror's going to box in 3 separate players. Meanwhile, Thor, he's got to find a landing zone.
Well,
it's going to be right there.
He found it onto Divios, all in on Divios, but the Lord of the Afterlife is not there this time. Divios just able to walk away. The slows made an impact, but then the Yellow River came out from Best to once again reset this fight.
Divios, Best, and Cyclone still have their ultimates, which are important. Perhaps most certainly for Divios and CycloneSpin, since they're the guys that are going to be able to steal this objective.
But Fire Giant started again by Trifecta, down to half health. Scary D on the zone duty. Divios shows his face. Cyno trying to creep round to this left-hand side at the moment, just try and present a different option.
It's important that Zapman doesn't tank the Fire Giant when the teams are sort of doing this dance. The Fire Giant provides a debuff that makes you do less damage.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for the team fight after the bait, the Hunter should not be tanking.
But that means you've got to have one of your tanks, I guess, tank this up for you. But then they're not zoning them away.
I think what you're looking for is Mask to be the tank here. Let Zapman go ahead, and so if you transition into a team fight, you can do that. NeiruMah, sure, that's fine, because you're looking for Splyce to come in.
Tell you what, I think if they knew that Best was in base there, they might have continued on that Fire Giant that time round, but reset again. They're testing the water here, but the water seems lovely. They're going to bomb it down. Trifecta get the Fire Giant, but Metyankey's low. The burn damage was enough to survive through that, but Aror's trying to turn it around. Can't find the damage, though. The Elephant made an uncalculated decision. Didn't work out with Cyclone.
Cyclone out of control comes through with the double kill. Aror is in trouble. He's surrounded by two. Now he's going to get taunted, but he dashes right through.
But now he's just going to get run down and chased. Meanwhile, Scary D on the other side of the map is forcing an issue for CycloneSpin, but he's out of mana, and Divios is still hanging around.
Damn. Mask goes ahead and takes care of Aror. Watching that one, though, this has been repeatedly what happened is Trifecta do find an objective, and then Splyce punish them. The problem is Trifecta are taking 3 steps forward, and Splyce are bringing them down a single peg. So holistically, Trifecta is still able to make the most of these objective pushes.
Exactly. Trifecta is slowly but surely winning this game as this one goes on. Difference is, I thought we said it in the first Fire Giant, the tanks didn't have the FG buff, so they couldn't sustain up. Well, now it's the 2 damage dealers that don't have the FG buff, so they're not going to be able to shred, though, on these Phoenixes as easy. Does allow, though, the tanks to engage a little bit more fruitfully in the front line. I guess a few more taunt initiations could happen with NeiruMah here.
Yeah, if we look at both of these scenarios, though, Hindu, this is definitely the worst of the two. Watching Zapman not have this one, sure, he's a late game hunter. He's going to be able to shred the Phoenixes anyway.
Not much pen, though, but yeah.
Exactly. Having that additional structure damage is really, really nice on the hunter.
Well, back to the Gold Fury go. Trifecta one more time. They can just pick that up for themselves if they so choose. Won't do just yet. It looks like they're going to be looking for the pickup of the red, obviously. Steal that one away. And red buff, very important. Very important for mages.
Much more important, even for the hunter here in the late game. Just amplifies your damage by a % base, and that's more important than just a little bit of gold when everybody's 6 slotted. But of course, that's going to be prioritization. Now you grab your Gold Fury so that everybody can grab that 3,000 potion that Scary D has.
Elixir of Defense, I believe it's called. I'm trying to learn these because you don't get to see the 3K so often. Yeah.
Look at that.
The reason I know that one is because I'm a support player and the games drag out so long sometimes in ranked that you end up getting one of those. Because you can't go power, it's pointless.
Yeah, absolutely. The defense, even on the carries, it's nice to have 50 protections. I'm down.
It's useful, but it's not as useful as going for the power option on a carry. That's the big difference because you want to amplify it with these. It doesn't work as well as you think in the other way.
You know, it all depends. It all depends. If you're a character that's in the middle
Torn
of everything.
on Divios, but he gets the mitigate wounds off just in time as the bombs rain down. A raw zone was good, but Mask came in towards the end. Just a little bit too late to really make anything happen. Couldn't find the stun on a raw. And now we'll hold again for Trifecta at the Phoenix line.
The fact that Mask's ultimate's down is a really big deal. One of the better tools here. Splyce trying to use theirs, and big crits coming out from Zapman. Divios taking a ton of damage, but Cyclone doing the same, cutting down the opposition support.
With NeiruMah being dead, the question is what does Trifecta do now? And it's basically this, walk away. We can't take a 4-on-5 at this Phoenix line without having the Athena there. We need a full 5-on-5.
I mean, Splyce has been looking fantastic on defense. I don't think that they could take the 4-on-6, counting the Phoenix.
I almost feel like they need to change strategy because at the moment what they seem to be trying to do is all in Divios, take him out of the fight equation first, and then reset, go again. what ends up happening is they invest a lot into Divios. He still survives every single time because things like Aror has the shell, the defensive capability to keep them at bay. And then he regens back up, and Trifecta just sitting there, oh, okay. Now with that man advantage, look at Splyce getting aggressive.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. Trifecta already showed that they're not able to take the 4-on-5, so you know they're not going to. This tier 1 tower, tier 2 tower, just really irrelevant to Trifecta right now. They're just looking to siege, so sure, just take that stuff.
43 minutes in, Fire Giant up again in another 55 seconds. We'll see what happens with this one. As we said, though, this is a slow but sure grind up from Trifecta. And it really is a grind, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is bit by bit, and it's been interesting to watch because it's been large bit by bit. It's not death by 1,000 cuts. It's significant blows, but
chunks.
Yeah, but we're watching Splyce. The reason it's been so grindy is that Splyce has been able to return fire almost every time.
14,000 gold doesn't seem that much when you're all at full build, but the 3k pots, as we mentioned, they'll come into play as time goes on. Scary still has his in his inventory, and he's been joined by Metyankey and Zap, both getting the power elixir of powers now, so could be some problems.
Yeah, this might be where Trifecta can just win the team fight by being powerful. Zapman already critting people with absurd numbers.
Wall doesn't connect with Aurora there. He'll just be able to slip away. Fire Giant does land back down to Earth, or Midgard, or the Battleground of the Gods, I guess. Should really be where it is.
Midgard? Like the male?
Yeah. Thor on to Divios, who needs a lot more damage. Still alive yet again, though. The chase is on. This time they'll pick him up, but TheBest removes that man from existence.
Just waiting there to make his strike. Mask gonna come down, miss a lot of the stun, knock him on a NeiruMah, and knocked him down to about 25% there, Hindu. Nice plays coming out from TheBest.
Cyno goes in, Cyno goes out, bombs rain down, hits TheBest there. Good work from Metyankey to force Best back again. As Splyce was looking to get aggressive. Mask still on full health. And the big dance now is stagger the backs once more. We discussed this earlier on. You can't all fall back, although both teams seem to be respectful enough to maybe just let, both wave the flag of truce for a moment or two while they wait for their solo laner and carry to come back to the fray.
Well, Splyce are here. What happens is they have to make sure that Trifecta aren't. With the vision drop there, that will absolutely do so. Trifecta will be spotted coming back, and because of that aggressive vision, Splyce will be in a better position around this Fire Giant.
I will say, you said it as well about TheBest there. He just waited and waited for the right opportunity to just strike.
Oh, he was just sitting in the cut waiting for somebody to chase down a teammate.
And it worked out so well for TheBest and Splyce there to take out Zapman. And just to point out, he burnt a 3,000 pot there as well, which it does hurt even if you are full build. To see 3,000 gold just go straight down the drain.
Yeah, it certainly hurts. But Zapman was able to make his presence known even before he fell, doing a lot of damage there to Divios. A lot of the crits coming out and hurting him.
And that's the first time they killed Divios. But the one time they do kill the Divios is the one time that they lose one of their carries in the process of doing so. So an interesting trade once more. Pyromancer, Zapman, Divios, all back available. And the front line, grouped up, Scary and NeiruMah, trying to hold this choke point a little bit better this time for now. Trifecta a little bit further forward there for a moment or two. Splyce having to sit further back.
Ping's coming out on Splyce at their own blue buff. That's where Trifecta want to fight, and Scary's going to go right on in.
As did Mask, but the Dharmic Pillars are down once again. Scary, though, looking for the kill on TheBest and get some good damage in. Mask cleans up Cyno in the back of this fight as he was trying to wrap round the back. Metyankey at half health. He was clearly the focus out from Cyno, but it wasn't enough. Fire Giant is going to go to Trifecta.
That's one of the problems, if not the problem, that Hebo has in the late game is the fact that when he gets surrounded, his only option is to ultimate out. And so you're just not able to really provide the damage. Hebo is sitting there at 18,000 damage 2 team fights ago, now at 23. He's finding damage from his knockups, and that's almost it. He's hitting these tanks with the ultimates, and they're tanks, so they're not dying. He's just not able to find himself in range to get to those squishy targets.
I don't know about the call here from Trifecta. A couple of members were relatively low, but they had the Fire Giant around the waist too. They've had Cyno dead for 40 plus seconds there. After that little playtime, what do you think? Do you think they should have gone for a Phoenix or take the Pyro and farm up again?
I would have liked to see them go for the Phoenix just because the way that this game has gone so far, the fact that they haven't been able to break into the wall has been problematic.
Would have liked that wall a little bit more if those minions weren't coming down, but it did protect him a little bit, I guess, for a hair. to try and keep them healthy enough for this siege. In goes NeiruMah, gets knocked up again, eats that Soul Reaver Puck, and the ult is down for him. Divios, the bombs rain down, but he will drive and strike away. Meanwhile, though, Zapman got uncontrolled attention onto the Phoenix and brings it down.
Maz trying to figure out if he wants to go deep or just help his teammate. He's actually going to go to the right-hand side.
I like that. It was zone. It was zone. It was like, all right, you're going to come in again and try and fight us again? No, I'm going to stay in the sky, and if you do, going to hold down. So instead, gets the reset. They got what they wanted, Tom.
Yep.
Middle Phoenix.
And it's almost like using the Dua ult for vision. When you're able to go up there, just the threat of activation, like I call it. You're using the ultimate, so it's not really true to that statement. But the idea that, like you said, I'm up in the air, and if you walk forward, I'm going to be in your face. Walk backwards. I don't want to fight you, but you're going to force me to. I will. His team goes, all right, we're able to pick up the Phoenix because everybody walked away from Mask. We got what we came for.
29 kills, and let's be honest, how this game started, it was very blood heavy at around the 12-minute mark where we saw most of these kills, but it's not been boring. I would not say it's been boring one step of the way.
Not at all. Not at all. I think the toughest spot here was TheBest. Just this Hebo pick has not worked out,
has it?
Man.
Yeah. He's had to sit so far back the entire time.
I'll be honest. I was rooting for it.
Of course you were. You love Hebo.
I do. This character is so much fun to watch. The problem is when he's just surrounded, he doesn't have an option out. He's kind of like Zeus, where when he gets surrounded, he just looks to kill you. But with characters like Scary D's Osiris and some of the other options, there's too much control, even with the Magi Cloak on him. Habwa is very susceptible to death, and we're seeing that here in the later stages of this game number 2.
Trifecta very patient after picking up that middle Phoenix so far. They've got the Fire Giant for about another minute, I'd say, give or take, with how the Fire Giant debuffs going on, but they're now starting to group up on the left-hand side.
Furthest from the Fire Giant, this is absolutely the Phoenix that you want to press on, because later on you can just fall back on the Fire Giant. 1 minute or less remaining on that buff. So Trifecta need to make their move relatively soon.
Divios once again going to be the focal point from Trifecta,
Hey,
but NeiruMah has done that too many times and got punished. But the crits from Zapman are swinging. Lord of the Afterlife hits Divios. He's not healing anymore. Aurora is also low and been isolated. Zapman gets that kill, and the Hunters have now come to play.
Splyce still defending this left side Phoenix, just barely under 100%. Really nice defense, and that's what they're looking for out of the Hebo. He doesn't need to be up close and personal if he can knock a player up and allow everybody else to do the dirty work.
But with that, it's going to be a fallback from Trifecta. They lose NeiruMah. They don't feel confident enough. Metyankey at half health. No sustain in this kit this time round with the build he's gone for. Obviously, you've seen some Bancrofts now and again, but with this one, means he can't hang around as long as he'd like to. So Trifecta have to just accept a red buff of their own and a Gold Fury.
Divine Ruin, important.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to watch out for some of that Hercules healing. You know, it's funny watching the players over in Europe. They buy this even when there's no healer.
They're a big fan of it because they believe in like just natural regeneration being a big factor too, and the fact it's hard to fit everything together. Obviously, if everyone's just doing a little bit less, it also affects things like the jungle too. Like Assassin's Blessing, it impacts that.
And it's decent power and pen and penetration coming at a premium these days for mages. It reminds me of when Brawler's Beatstick first got picked up a lot by these Thor players. Not because, we're talking way back a couple of seasons, not for the anti-healing, but just because 40, I think it was 40-20 was the stats on it, 40 power, 20 pen. We just want that because we're looking for the power in the pen. That's where sort of the mindset is from the European mages.
Well, more elixirs in this game again, 51 minutes. This could end up being one of the longest ones of the season.
I think our longest one was 67, right?
I mean, we could be topping that now with how this game's going. I mean, what we can tell now at this stage, it's Trifecta get the Fire Giants and look to siege. Splyce defend, or maybe lose a Phoenix, and then they lose a member or two in the process and have to fall back.
It's absolutely possible. But Splyce with 12, Trifecta with 19 kills. I think that's very representative of how this game has gone. If you're just joining us and you missed, the previous 52 minutes, Trifecta would basically win the team fights, and Splyce would be able to get 1 or 2 picks.
Divios going to walk forward, eat a lot of damage yet again. Somebody's been used to Mask in the Sky, though. Going to force Splyce back. Cyclone goes up, looking for some extra damage there. Didn't get in as much as he wanted to, so now Cyclone's all on cooldown, as is Auror's. And this is a weakened Phoenix, so Trifecta will walk in and take it. Splyce fall back to the Titan room, and Trifecta will call it quits there.
See, the one thing that the Hebo is doing here is, now that's true threat of activation. Mask going up, he's afraid that if I do land down, I'm just going to get Hebo'd. If he activates the Berserker Barrage right away, sure, he's immune to the knockup, but then he's going to get hit with the hands.
Is it not worth Mask maybe going for the ult onto the Hebo and then immediately Aegising just to try and force this fight where Hebo tries to get aggressive and the team turns on him?
I think there's enough long-range crowd control that he doesn't need to. Right now, NeiruMah going to get knocked up because he's looking for that
is
taunt.
getting bursted. Lord of the Afterlife back to safety. Metyankey's bombs finished off Divios, who once again ate most of the crits out of Zapman, but will fall once more. Hercules is not surviving right now, something we don't say too often.
TheBest also has that Magi's cloak, too. He's going to immune the first stun that Mask comes down with.
Dharmic Pillar's down, just going to slow them down for a second. Best being patient, but ults onto Scary D, who teleported in from base a moment ago. And this is starting to look uncomfortable for Splyce now. It's starting to fall apart. The puzzle was working so well for them to keep in Trifecta at bay, but maybe not now. I mean, Best ult on cooldown, Cyclone's ult, Cyno's ult, and Fire Minions in the mid lane with 2 Phoenixes down.
Big deal. NeiruMah just got the Magi Cloak off of TheBest. Now he can be controlled. Before he wasn't able to be. Now you might see the Mask go a little bit more aggro.
Cyclone just sniped ulted. I don't know what he was after there, but it didn't work out. Taunt on TheBest, and in we go with Trifecta looking to end. Scary D ate a couple of crits and doesn't like that idea. In the sky was Mask, but he didn't find the target he was after. Trifecta are in a bit of trouble here, but the Titan's getting low. Zap's looking to end and will do so. 21-13.
CycloneSpin not able to bring it home.
I wasn't sure about that one. I wasn't sure they were going to end for a second. I was like, it looked like they should be able to, but how this game's going, anyone's guess.
I mean, that was a little bit of a head scratcher towards the end, but I think if you watch the meat and potatoes of it, it was just Trifecta coming through, able to win a lot of their composition, or excuse me, win a lot of the team fights because of the composition across the way. My problem with what Splyce brought out in game number 2 was it was all about finding a target, blowing it up, and I didn't see that target selection.
Really, really rough situation there then for Splyce. And that one, who do you think was MVP? That's a good question.
That is a very good question. I think Mask was integral in those team fights at the end of the day, and I don't think he's going to win. I think it was NeiruMah. Very important, stripping of the Magi's cloaks a lot of the times, a big setup coming out, and he was the one repeatedly putting himself in harm's way, absorbing a lot of the damage so that his teammates could follow up.
It's fair. I'm going to probably go with Metyankey for me, though, and maybe Scary D. Like, that's the thing. When the longer the game goes, the more tricky it is to decide who wins the MVP vote. That's your guys' job. Anyway, head over to Finch and Aggro to break down Game 2, because we've got a Game 3 coming up.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Tom, for casting that game for us. Finch and Aggro here on the desk. We got to break that one down. I mean, Trifecta even this one up 1-1 now, Aggro.
Man, but it was not easy for
No,
them.
not at all.
And they got off to such a good start, too. I mean, it just wasn't able to really keep it going in their favor. Splyce battled back beautifully after a great start by Trifecta. But, man, I really feel like, for me, I don't know if Zapman is the MVP here in this game, but that was the difference, was Zap versus Cyclone in the late game. It felt like Zap was able to do a little bit more than Cyclone was on the ROM.
And that really is the storyline here between this game, is those two hunters and the impact they were able to have there in the late game. In fact, it sounds like that is actually in the MVP there in Mixer Chat. You all have decided that you believe it is going to be Zapman himself, and hard to be confused about why. 8-4-10 he went, 30,000 player damage. I mean, we were talking in the back room about the late game ROM, but I mean, it's not as if Jing Wei is too far away from that same impact.
No, and I loved seeing both hunters actually commit to the crit build in this game, and it was really, but the thing was, I mean, as I said, in the late game, I really felt like it was Zap who had the advantage, but in the early game, he had the advantage as well. He was consistently bullying Cyclone underneath the tower, found that solo kill. Zap was really, really a big part of Trifecta's success towards the later stages. In the early game, it was Mask, it was Scary D. Metyankey had a great game all around. He continues to have a quietly excellent season here in Season 5. I think he deserves a lot of credit for how well Trifecta has played so far. But man, Zap has really been stepping it up as well. And you can't be one of the top teams in North America unless we can consistently say that about every one of your team members.
That's exactly right. It's so close now. The only way to try and create those distinctions between you is for everyone to be able to play so consistently at a high level. But I'm glad you highlighted Metyankey, because he continues to look in my opinion, elite this split. I mean, especially on Agni. Maybe that's like the qualifier to make. Specifically when he's able to play this Agni, he looks as good as anyone else.
First pickable without a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit for Agni to kind of get some momentum and teams to finally pick him up consistently at the pro level. But I feel like Agni himself is a great pick in this current meta, mid game being so strong while his early game and late game are both good enough by themselves. It kind of just does everything you want it to throughout the entire course of the game, and Met did everything Trifecta wanted him to throughout the entire course of the game. The continued CC chains, man, between the taunt into the knockup into landing into the bomb stun, it's so difficult for even gods like Hercules or Ganesha to really survive in conditions like that.
And it's not particularly easy. With the Agni, it's so important that you're patient with the way that you're using those bombs, and then your positioning. Agni controls so much space around him that being at the exact right point in the team fights, which is not easy to do, is key to being able to go from being, like a ranked player with him to being able to play at this level.
And the ability to recognize when you're dashing aggressively and when that's the right call. I mean, Agnis that are going to dash in, use that to stun because that's your quickest option to stun at the longer ranges, and then use Aegis to buy themselves some time, let the team kind of collapse in on you. That's when you know an Agni player is very, very comfortable.
And that's what we saw here in this game from Metyankey. But really, this entire Trifecta roster looked excellent. You heard him talk a little bit between the two casts at the end, but you could even make a case for Neil being sort of an MVP this game, the way that he played the Athena, not just taking off the Mad Guy's blessings, which the casters pointed out, but that's the setup that helps make Metyankey look so good. That bait factor is important.
It's not only that, but the safety that he provides throughout the entire team. The double global pressure between Thor and Athena really proved to be pretty tough for Splyce to handle, specifically in that early game. It was Mask kind of all over the map, and Scary exerted so much pressure kind of on his own. Remember, this was this game that he found that that solo kill with two people in his lane. Cyno had to just watch as he soloed down Divios, which was a great play by Scary D. Trifecta just drafted pressure this time. I really feel like that's the entire difference between the starts, at least, of Game 1 and 2. Game 1, they put NeiruMah on the mid lane. Metyankey can't make an impact, and Trifecta just kind of roll over. In Game 2, Met looks great because he gets a pressure pick in the Agni.